nice shot to the back of a gun. Dumb, don't shoot yourself and die. Haters are softer than pumpkin pie. Out of my body ain't even alive. I found all the phonies and severed the ties.
Alright, I'm making this video because I feel like there could be some changes slash fixes to the server, being Viper. I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna say this part right now because I know it could be brought up a ton of times beforehand, but some of the issues that I'm bringing up were never really issues beforehand, and the people that run Viper have operated and worked on servers beforehand and ran these servers that never had these issues before. They're basically, most of them are new to Viper, new to the community from Viper itself, and they weren't issues beforehand. That's the only reason why I'm bringing some of these up. Some of them are really minor, some of them are pretty big, and yeah, I feel like these issues have lowered the satisfaction overall from players, and I myself have not been enjoying it as much, even if they are minor, but it's just stuff that we didn't have before and can easily be improved on, or just shouldn't have been an issue if you ask me, because these people that run the server can easily either fix them or they know how to prevent them, I'd say, because they have the experience. And I know I am a YouTuber. Whether that makes me qualified to say these things or not, I don't care. Whether I have YouTuber after saying these things, which I know it is kind of bashing the server, but I feel like if something isn't said, nothing's gonna happen, and I don't know if I'll have my rank after this, so I mean, it is what it is. I'll say it. I'll be the one that takes the bad end of the stick for this. So the first thing I'm going to address is server-related things, being that having two servers. I'll play a clip right now where it shows Royale having very little player count, considering that they had an STW a week beforehand, and Citadel was going on that weekend for Royale. And then later on the clip, or like the second half of the clip, would be logging on to Reforge when SCCW had just happened a couple hours beforehand, and it had 200 some players, even though on SCCW they had like 700 or so. And yeah, it just goes to show like having the two servers literally just ends up killing the other server, which doesn't make sense to have two servers at that point, because if one server ends up hurting the other, it doesn't make sense to operate them at the same time. And obviously there is another incentive, I'd say, to why there is two servers, but if I say that, there's probably for sure gonna be some backlash towards me, I'd say. There definitely needs to be improvement to the anti-cheat or implementation of one, because I definitely feel like there isn't one. There's a lot of cheating going on. It's just annoying at this point, whether it's maybe there's just not enough staff on, or qualified staff to do SSs, who knows at this point. Yeah. Redstone timers, this one's a minor one, but redstone timers for auto brewers, there's usually 3 repeaters and then a piece of redstone in the timer. The first 2, when they're at full tick, will operate correctly, but the third one, being at full tick, will actually act like there is no delay to it whatsoever, and it'll skip through it and it'll mess up pots, and it's kind of annoying. I've experienced it a couple times, and it's just ridiculous having to deal with that. It wasn't an issue beforehand, it shouldn't be right now, so that's one minor thing, I guess. For mining, I'd say that obviously a lot of the worlds are custom, but Reforge was supposed to be vanilla, yet there was no caves, I'd say. I never saw any caves, like natural caves where you could mine without having to E5 mine through everything else. And I do like the implementation of like the miner kit, super, like ultimate or whatever it is, right, where you can just mine a 3x3 after holding shift and left clicking. So I kind of do like that, but at the same time it takes away the feeling of vanilla, and it makes it easier if you don't have an E5 to be able to go cave spelunking and find resources that way. So kind of takes away, but I don't know, maybe it's just something small that I'm taking a little too serious. Not really too serious, but just being bugged by. Another thing that could be fixed, I'd say, or changed, is having a single, there should be more than one layer of netherrack while in nether in front of like glowstone mountain and stuff like that, instead of it being one layer of netherrack and then a ton of lava where you could just mine away the netherrack and it would just cause a lava gank. That shouldn't be a thing. Just make it so that there's a couple layers of netherrack so it wouldn't happen, or that you can easily get out of it. That'd be great, obviously. Another thing would be the random leg outs when you're in overworld. where you can't send a message, and can/hub you'd have to disconnect and reconnect in order to log back on. And also when you're switching worlds from overworld to end or end to overworld, a lot of people lag out while they're going through entrance or exit. And I haven't seen many people get killed, but I've definitely seen it just being a thing, like another thing that wasn't an issue beforehand, but it is apparently right now. So I feel like that could be fixed and addressed pretty easily, almost. Another thing being, glowstone should have multiple veins. It shouldn't just have one giant vein that sometimes is even a gank that you can't even get out of unless you leave an extra piece of glowstone. There should be multiple ones, that way it's not just camped by one person or like one faction. There's opportunity to get other glowstone by any means. I still think the first glowstone mountain ever is the best glowstone mountain because it had multiple veins. There's glowstone in the walls, and the spawners were on top, obviously. So if we go to PvP things, I'd say the KB needs to be addressed. There's cases where people just don't take KB, and you can basically just sit there critting, and the crits are very, very strong on this server. It puts you ahead in terms of fight, and it's really hard to get back ahead or even with players when you're fighting. Also, the lag has been an issue, whether it's just that there's not enough reboots or something. It can get really bad while we're PvPing sometimes, and it's just kind of annoying. So whether there's just needs to be more reboots implemented or not, I feel like that could probably solve that pretty quickly. Another one would be that crapple cooldown, not crapple, but like regular golden apples. Their cooldown are a minute right now. I feel like that could be put down to 45 seconds just because when you're trying to fight, obviously it takes time to eat them, but when you're only able to eat them every 60 seconds, it makes it only worth bringing about 4 of them. That way it's like 4 minutes if you time them correctly and everything like that, but obviously you're not going to time it whether you're chasing or something like that. It's not going to be 4 minutes exactly that you're able to eat all of them. So I feel that you could put the cooldown down a little bit just because you're given these golden apples through keys and everything like that, but I find myself not using them just because they're a little bit more of a hassle to bring and use than to just bring an extra pot or something like that. So I feel like they could be cooled down that way. They're a little bit more useful. A COTS schedule should be implemented that way that there's something going on the server instead of just being put up by staff whenever they're on, happen to be on. So maybe 2 during EU times, 2 during the US times, and maybe that'll help PvP a little bit. I'm not really sure. Just some type of schedule I feel like would really work. PvP timer glitch, that needs to be addressed. That's been reported to staff. I know who's reported it and everything like that, and to who. Yet nothing's been done about that for a couple maps now. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's even the fix itself has been reported, so get into it. Purling into blocks while kiting. There's a clip of that I'll put in right now, where you purl, literally get stuck in a block while you're kiting, and which it slows you down, and you could die sometimes. I mean, it's ridiculous that you have that. Another issue that wasn't there before but now is, which probably has to do with being able to purl in 1x1s and stuff like that, blah blah blah. But yeah. Also, you're able to pro glitch into spawn while you're combat tag. There's a clip of that right now. Yeah, that needs to be addressed because you're literally able to pro through glass and escape danger. I had an issue with that in one of my videos where the guy just did it. I didn't record it, but I recorded myself basically doing it after seeing him do it. So yeah, that shouldn't be a thing. One more thing that could be addressed is that bard effects rework. Speed 3 should probably be 35 instead of 45 bard energy. Strength 2 should stay at 45 and resistance should be 40, I would say. I feel like that's a more appropriate scale to put them at, because speed 3 should not be the same as strength 2 in my opinion, and a lot of other people that I've talked to opinion. So yeah. Also, going back to pearls, if someone is purling into a small gap where there's a chance of them getting stuck into a block, that should not be revivable by any means. They knew what they were doing. They know that there's a chance of them getting stuck in a block and suffocating. So yeah, I don't know if people are doing this or not, like trying to get revived for this or anything like that, saying that they're recording it, blah blah blah. But if they did it willingly, they tried to pearl glitch, or not pearl, but pearl through the block to get to the enemy, that's on them. They shouldn't be revived for that, etc. No DTR or anything like that. So I don't know if that's going on or not, but I'm just saying it out loud. Another thing is that this is probably where most of the backlash might come from in terms of like owners and stuff like that, but I feel like there hasn't been much effort or investment into the server after it finally came up, being that this last Reforged map, there wasn't even a sell shop for Vals, and I get it, you guys are probably doing it last second, but these things can easily be done beforehand, like the day before. That way everything goes smoothly, which it didn't this last one. Fortunately enough, it didn't happen to me, but I know it happened to people, and there was recordings of it and stuff like that, which people weren't pleased about. Again, going back to satisfaction within the server and the players itself. But yeah, I just feel like there could be more effort and more investment into the server beyond just having maps every week and everything like that, blah, blah, blah. But the events are basically pointless. There's no reward to capping EOTW or having FFA, because half the time FFA isn't even started up once EOTW is finally capped. I know that happened one time. Whether there's a reward or not, I mean, I'm not participating in EOTWs anymore except for FFA, just because that's more fun. But FFAs, you can just have people just team up on you anyways because they know who's their faction member and everything like that. But put some incentive, I'd say, whether it's just like a key or so the next map or something like that. But yeah, also another thing, there should be a distinct build or border for Citadel instead of just making N Citadel and making it so you can't pearl in N period. That was probably one of the dumbest moves in my opinion. I mean, it was fun when you controlled N, but if you were a solo or a duo and you're just getting whomped on by 8 people or something like that, that's just ridiculous. Like, and wasn't really an announcement. If there is an announcement, if you're not on and you miss it, I mean, heck you at that point. Like, what are you gonna do? So something that could easily be taken into consideration, I'd say, is just putting in the effort to having a distinct border / build for Citadel or events would be great. Obviously, it's again not an issue that was there before, but is an issue now, and there's a little bit more effort. I'd say that's gone. Another thing being that media / partners or YouTubers is that there really isn't any promotion or engagement with events or costs. There's a lot of focus on base PvP and staying in your base, which promotes that playing style, and it really just gets rid of the competitiveness that HGF has or can have if you're out there trying to fight and everything like that. And it's just, I don't know, it's not really HGF if you ask me. I mean, one of the hardest things on this last Reforged map was probably just trying to get through End, and that was one of the difficult things on the server. Everything else was pretty much easy. It's easy to get set up, it's easy to go fight in PvP, but getting through that End was probably one of the hardest things, and that was the only thing that I found hard on that server at that point. So I feel like there needs to be some type of implementation of hardcore factions back into the game, because it really doesn't feel like it anymore, and it's sad to see that and play through that. So let me know if you guys feel like if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you don't, if I missed anything that should have been included, and share this with anyone that you feel like would like to hear about this stuff, or could possibly have some say in what happens with the server or anything like that, because I'd like to see some improvement. Obviously, I'm sure everyone else would, and yeah, hopefully we can get something done about this, because I'd like to play. I enjoy playing when I'm having fun, but when I'm not having fun, it's just really boring and everything like that, blah blah blah. But yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you. Leave some feedback down below, and hopefully something can be done about this. Thank you.